Hey everyone, Mitch coming in from the Commander's Core studio. Welcome to the show. So, something unspeakable has happened because, yeah, it's something that players have kind of talked about for a while in Commander, like jokingly, like, hey, wouldn't it be funny if, like, you could do this in Commander? And everyone's like, ha 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 ha, and then Wizards finally kind of did it. So, let's talk about this broken thing. Now, Wizard from Beyond, yeah, that is the card name. That is everyone talking. Yeah, this is a Heroes of the Realm card. So this is not a custom card, but it is a small print run card done by Wizards that they give to their employees or former employees for one reason or another. So the mortals of you and I, us mortals, will never see a glorious card such as this in person, most likely. That being said, you can proxy it. If your playgroup is okay with that, obviously, because this thing is broken. So, yeah, before you go out and check out that card list link below and pick up those cards that work well with this brand new Commander-ish thing, make sure you ask your playgroup first, if they're even okay with you proxying it. That being said, if you actually really want to buy this, it should be incredibly expensive on the secondary market once Wizards employees say, hey, you know what? I'm not going to play with it, so let's just throw it on the internet and see who buys it, which might be you. But yes, so just proxy it. Anyways, it is a legendary enchantment background. That's right. Remember those backgrounds from back in, I think it was Baldur's Gate, right? We have a new one. This one, though, is 5 color. Yep. Okay, so there you go. All the other ones, I believe, correct me in the comments if I'm wrong on this, were 1 color each. So they would add a singular color onto a commander, essentially, and yeah, you'd have then a 2 color commander or a 3 color commander in some instances, I believe. Maybe it was just 2. Regardless, now you have a background that is 5 colors, so it is adding on every single color. And as a giant WUBRG fan, I'm like, yay for that, except for, well, the next part, which is absurd. Create a character. There you go. Basically choose a character, though. Any non-legendary creature can choose this as its background. It becomes legendary, can be your commander. Okay, so, yeah, this is kind of thing that, like, myself and other commander players out there have kind of just, like, you know, speculated on and, like, joked about and being like, hey, you know what, yeah, wouldn't it be kind of cool if you could just choose, like, this as a commander? Because, like, it kind of has a legendary effect. It should be legendary. And we'll go through some examples here in a little bit. But it's like, yeah, wouldn't that be fun? And then you kind of, like, think about the implications of that. Choosing non-legendary creatures as commanders, just opening it up from, I mean, right now, there's a couple thousand commanders, I think, to, like, every single creature ever created in Magic's history. And yeah, even though some aren't legendary, they're going to be broken. I mean, like, again, literally, if this is your commander, I mean, paired with your commander being the background, this is the most broken commander of all time. And I am counting all of the banned ones, okay? Like, this just is the most broken commander card because it's like, hey, you know what? That incredibly broken non-legendary creature that people build entire decks around and just try to get out just to win, you have it in your command zone. Oh, and by the way, you've got access to all 5 colors. So you have access to every card you could ever want to do the broken thing. And we'll talk about some of those broken things here in a little bit. That being said, there's also some more text on this that really is kind of unnecessary, but let's keep going. Commander creatures you own are clerics, rogues, warriors, and wizards in addition to their types. As long as you have a full party, if an ability of a creature control triggers, the ability triggers additional time. And my apologies, this card's a bit grainy because it's actually from, like, a picture someone took and then they, like, rotated it. So this isn't the actual, like, you know, like, just screen grab that, you know, Wizards would put out. This is a picture that someone took and put on Twitter, I believe. Regardless, cool. If you really want to build around a party, go for it. Go for it. And actually, we'll talk about one card here in a little bit that can help with that. And yeah, it could do some pretty powerful things. But, I mean, just the fact that this, again, is, hey, any non-legendary creature can be your commander is broken. And the fact that it gives that 5 colors then, too, is absurdly broken. So, yeah, this, again, is... it's kind of weird because, like, the Rules Committee has said in the past, I believe, that, like, yeah, like, of course people who have these cards can play with them as their commander. But also, like, I don't think if you search on Scryfall, this would show up, like, as an actual, like, legal commander card. So there's kind of, like, a gray area with it. So, again, that's exactly why I am saying Well, number one, because, again, it is a Here's the Realm card. Number two, because it's incredibly broken. Ask your playgroup ahead of time. And your playgroup might literally come back with, like, oh, sure, you can proxy it, but, like, you need to pick a reasonable non-legendary creature, which is completely fair to say. Like, you can't pick some of the ones I'm about to bring up. So with all that said, if you are interested in this card, I highly recommend, again, probably proxying it because it's going to be incredibly expensive. Ask your playgroup first, though. And also, make sure you check out that card listing in the description. And yes, let's talk about these cards that you might want to choose for your new create a character commander. It's like Build-A-Bear. Anyways, here we go. First up, okay, Dualcaster Mage. We're going to start off with budget buys. I probably should have mentioned that first. Cards that are less than $1, so yeah, you can do some incredibly broken things. You could be like, yeah, hey, playgroup, are you okay if I use this, if I use a budget card? And then they say yes, and they shouldn't have said yes still. They should still be like, not Dualcaster Mage, because gross. A 2/2 Human Wizard Flash enters the battlefield, copy target, and sorcery spell, choose targets for the copy, 3 mana in total. This card is essentially a combo just piece with many pieces. I mean, this combos with Twin Flame, anything essentially, any kind of like a clone, not a clone itself, but a clone spell or a temporary clone spell, again, like a Twin Flame. This just combos with that so easily. You basically cast it, or you cast the other thing targeting something, and then you cast this, copying it, then it copies this again and again, infinitely. Essentially, with like a Twin Flame, you get infinite damage, infinite swings, essentially, right, in combat. So, yeah, Dualcaster Mage, with 5 colors, mind you, is pretty crazy. Next up, Mirkwood Bats, a card that was apparently on the Rules Committee's, potential ban list at some point this year, at least early on when this was spoiled. Has not been banned, obviously. Yeah, very powerful still. A 2/3 bat with flying. Whenever you create or sacrifice a token, each opponent loses 1 life. Yep, that's incredibly powerful, and if it's your commander, all of a sudden you're just like, okay, I made all these treasures. All right, cool. All right, I get my commander out. Okay, I'll make some more treasures. I'll sacrifice the treasures. You all lose. Yay! That's basically it. I mean, obviously, you could have ways to create, like, creature tokens, clue tokens, whatever they are. You're gonna do some crazy things and win, especially if you have access to all 5 colors. Again, you don't need a Mirkwood Bats commander. I mean, we do not need, like, a fully legal Mirkwood Bats commander that is 5 color. Prince Wizards, please don't actually do that. Anyways, moving on. Stormkilling Artist. Yeah, this in the command zone is an atrocity. 2/2 Dwarf Shaman, +1/+0 for each artifact you control. Doesn't really matter all that much, although I guess technically right now you have to also consider that these are commanders then and dealing commander damage. So you could pretty easily get to 21 because it does say whenever you cast or copy an instant sorcery spell, create a treasure token. Broken. Yeah, just a crazy ability essentially that says, hey, yeah, free mana, basically a ritual whenever you are casting or copying any instant sorcery spell. Getting that mana, you can utilize it whenever you want, essentially, because again, they're treasures. You can utilize other things to take advantage of you sacrificing those treasures, again, like Mirkwood Bats, which you have access to, obviously, because you're in 5 colors with this as your background. Pretty crazy. So yeah, Stormkilling Artists can definitely do some really busted things. Next up, other kinds of cards to consider might be ones that are like, hey, like an alternative win condition that would be kind of cool as a commander, like a Triska Decaphile. Did I say that right? That's really hard to say. A 1/3 Human Wizard that says you have no maximum hand size. That's already nice just to have on a commander, just 2 mana. Lovely. It also says at the beginning of your upkeep, if you have exactly 13 cards in your hand, you win the game. Now, obviously, if you are playing with this as your pseudo commander thingy, essentially, with this new background, yeah, your opponents are going to know kind of what your deck's about, most likely, because they're like, oh, okay, you're trying to get to 13 cards in your hand, and also, like, probably have counter spells to prevent me from getting rid of your Triska Decaphile. Also, you can pay 3 in a blue and draw a card, so yeah, there might be some infinite combo shenanigans that you might want to utilize with this commander to essentially make infinite mana, so therefore you can draw as many cards as you want, you can cast as many spells as you want, and then you can get down to exactly 13 cards while also protecting your commander when you need to. So there you go. Moving on, Deep Glow Skate. I actually built an entire deck around this card already. It is a card that's really cool in, like, well, a Super Friends build or a Counters build, and mine's got like a charge counters. It's a weird deck. It's a lot of fun though. But yeah, my deck was built around like Prismatic Bridge, goes in, gets it for me essentially, and it being the only thing in my deck it can get. That being said, obviously if it's just your commander, yeah, you already have access to it, and you could, of course, can build an easier deck completely around this. So again, some creatures that you like might want to build your entire deck around. Now this is like, oh yeah, just use it as your commander. There you go. Moving on, Gary. Yeah, pretty self-explanatory. Gary as a commander would be disgusting. 5 color Gary is infinitely grosser. 2/4 zombie. Enters the battlefield, each opponent loses X life for X your devotion to black. You gain life, your life lost this way. Okay. So again, regular Gary. Scary. Incredibly scary. Again, you just basically get a bunch of, black pips on the board, essentially, and you're like, okay, cool, I'm gonna play Gary out of my command zone. That's just a gross statement. Oh, okay, I'll drain you all for 10 each, probably at a very minimum. I'll gain 30. Oh, wait, but by the way, I'm in 5 color now, and all of a sudden you're like, hey, I cast a Cloud Shift for a single white mana. All right, let's blink you. You come back. I'll drain you 10 more. All right, let's do another one with, Essence Flux. Cool, that's a blue spell. Oh, cool, let's do it again. Oh, let's just copy this with a clone spell. Cool, all right, another Gary. Yay. Yeah, that's terrifying. Again, Gary as a commander is terrifying. Gary as a commander with all 5 colors is just incredible. How about other ones like, Metalwork Colossus could be a fun one as well. One that could actually be pretty busted, too. A 10/10 construct that costs 11, but you're never going to pay that. The spell costs X less cast for the total mana value of non-creature artifacts you control. So being able to essentially reduce this cost down to 0 makes it so that you can cheat on its own cost, and obviously any kind of commander tax that you might incur if you happen to, I don't know, maybe sacrifice this to like a greater good and draw a ton of cards and that kind of stuff as well. Also, you can get it back out of your graveyard if you really want to, sacrifice 2 artifacts, bring it from to your hand. You can do some fun shenanigans with that. Yeah, this say commander could be pretty spicy, and again, if it was your commander and you're just like a casual pod and you're like, hey, can I just play this as my commander? Having access to just colorless cards, that's a bit more fair, but having access to all 5 colors is like, oh yeah, gross, Warstorm Surge again and again and again and again, huh? Moving on, Shaman of the Great Hunt. This is one I think I've actually done, I believe, a long time ago. I did it in complete deck tech around this one because this is just a really cool card that really should have been like a commander, a legendary creature, because what it does. That being said, now it's like, yeah, you could just utilize it, and also in a 5-color deck. Gross. 4/2 Orc Shaman with haste that costs 4 mana. Whenever a creature you control deals combat to your player, get a counter on it. That's nice. More importantly, though, pay 2 Simic. Draw a card for each creature you control, power 4 or greater. Gross. That is an absurd effect. That is an effect that's just like, oh, okay, so just get creatures in play, pay 4 mana, draw 10 cards, whatever it is. Maybe you got like Zerda there as well as a companion. Maybe you've got, like Training Grounds. It costs 2 instead, and you just do Simic, and you draw 4. It's absurd. It's absurd. You can draw an incredible amount of cards, and again, cards like this. There's also like, that white one. It's escaping me. Soulfire Grandmaster. There we go. We got there. Those kinds that are like, players have been saying for years, like, probably should have been Ledger because they're so spicy and so fun. Yeah, this is another one. You'd be like, okay, cool, I'll build this as my commander with this. Mere Entity. This is the one where it's like, yeah, this I already have like a Lord's Tribal deck that it is completely built around essentially this card and getting it out and then trying to protect it and actually make all my things into, well, mirror the card. A 1/1 changeling, so it's every creature type. Pay X until I'm target creature you control base power toughness XX and gain all creature types. Essentially with this kind of a Lord's Shapeshifter Tribal deck, you just say, okay, I'll pay 1 or maybe 0 in certain circumstances when you have like an Anthem in place, so it survives, all your creatures survive. And turn this into a 1/1 that is all creature types. And you have everything that is all creature types. And that is actually the scenario where the rest of the text on the new background would actually matter in having a full party and doubling triggers, which would be pretty crazy. That being said, yeah, just a base level being like, okay, cool. I've got basically a Maskwood Nexus in the command zone just for things in play. But ensuring that I can essentially make everything into all creature types so I get all the tribal benefits of everything. Yeah, that can be quite spicy and quite fun. That being said, when it comes to fun, let's move on to the pricier picks and the gross things that you can do with this with even more budget. First up, we've got Dockside Extortionist. Oh my gosh. I mean, this card was debated to be banned for quite a long time. It felt like a couple of years. But yeah, this card is crazy good. A 1/2 Goblin Pirate for 2 mana, enters the battlefield, create extra tokens for X number of artifacts and enchantments your opponents control. Now, obviously, you are showing what your deck is about if this is in your command zone. That being said, it doesn't mean your opponents are going to stop playing enchantments and artifacts, because some decks just have to do that. If you're playing against an Enchantress deck, they're not going to be like, well, I just won't play. Or if they're playing an artifact deck, they won't do the same. Or if they're playing, things that make treasures or things that make clues or whatnot. This is an absurd card. It's an overpowered card. It is literally just 2 mana, make 10 plus treasures most likely. It also combos with plenty of things, something I'll talk about here in a little bit, I am sure. And then also it's like, yeah, okay, yeah, again, you just blink it. And there you go. You got more. Oh, you just gained a bunch of mana from that blink. Oh, you do it again. Basically, every single one of your blink effects is now a ritual effect. You can do some really crazy things with this. Obviously, you're in 5 colors, so cool. You can also get access to, like, Marionette Master, and there you go. You just drain all your opponents out, and they all lose because you sacrifice your artifacts. Pretty crazy. So, yeah, Dockside Extortionist wouldn't be excited to see in the command zone. Also, Thassa's Oracle. Yeah, I mean, entire decks are built around just the combo of Thassa's Oracle and one of a number of cards of get rid of your entire library, then play this. Very easy to do when Thassa's Oracle is always accessible being in the command zone. A 1/3 Merfolk Wizard enters the battlefield with the top X cards of your library, X is your devotion to blue. Put one on the bottom of your library, or sorry, top of your library, the rest of the bottom random order. Most importantly, though, X is greater than or equal to the number of cards in your library. You win the game. Basically, a laboratory maniac on an ETB. And very, very powerful one. One that is very hard to stop. Your opponents obviously will see what is happening by looking at your commander and seeing what your win condition is. That being said, they might not be able to stop it because you could pretty easily probably do some turn 1, combos with this when it's in your command zone. So, yeah, pretty gross. Moving on, Pitiless Plunderer. Kind of like Stormkill Artist, this one is just gross in the command zone. Whenever their creature you control dies, create a treasure token. Yeah, that's incredibly powerful. Also very broken in many scenarios. Get a bunch of creature fodder out, sacrifice them, have things like Bloodghast or whatever that you can keep getting back again and again and again. Yeah, plenty of ways to win from there, especially when, again, you have access to all 5 colors. Moving on, Deadeye Navigator. This is the one that I kind of referenced earlier with Dockside, where it's like, yeah, very easy combo. Deadeye has so many combos, Peregrine Drake, etc., etc. It has Soulbound whenever, Soul Bond, not bound. As long as it is paired with another creature this creature has, pay 1 in a blue, exile it, bring it back. Basically, hey, pay 2 mana and blink this creature. So if you have any creature that essentially can give you 2 mana, like Dockside Extortionist with the treasures, you just win. I mean, technically you don't win from there, okay? You have infinite mana, you don't win, but if you have anything else on the board that you can blink for like pinging a damage or like drawing a card, you can draw your entire library and you can win from there. So yeah, there's a lot of ways to win with this crazy card, and it being in your command zone is just pretty absurd, especially if you have access to all 5 colors. Next up, Esper Sentinel. Gross. Just having this in the command zone's like, oh yeah, and all 5 colors, cool. Okay, turn 1. Yep, playing this every single game, essentially. So yeah, putting this down, whenever an opponent casts their first non-creature spell each turn, draw a card unless that player pays X for Esper Sentinel's power. Having this in the command zone is absurd. It's just like, oh, okay, yeah, especially if you're on the play, you're like, okay, I get this down. Have fun playing your mana rocks. Thank you for the extra card draw. It's just a, like, Mystic Remora on the battlefield right away every single game for you. And you're going to be drawing an absurd amount of cards with it. So there you go. Moving on. How about mana? You want mana? Everyone wants mana, right? Lotus Cobra. Whenever a land is battlefield under control, add 1 mana of any color. This could get way out of control again. This is just 2 mana to get out. You get it out, and all of a sudden, yeah. Playing Evolving Wilds, crack it. Okay, cool. 2 extra free mana. Awesome. Oh, okay, I'll ramp. I'll get extra mana. Okay, I'll do this. Get extra mana. You're going to be way ahead of your opponents in absolutely no time with something crazy like this in the command zone. And that art is absolutely beautiful. So maybe this one deserves to be legendary, but I'm glad it is not. Next up, Opposition Agent. Very glad this is not legendary either, but again, with this new world of, it being your background, there you go. 3/2 Flash Human Rogue. You control your opponents while they're searching libraries. Mean! While an opponent is searching their library, they exile each card they find. You may play those cards for as long as they remain exiled, and you may spend mana or mana of any color to cast them. Mean! Basically, hey, you control your opponents. Players don't usually like that, and also you get to steal their things, which they also don't like. So yeah, whenever they're searching their library, yes, with a tutor, but also, even with just an Evolving Wilds again, there you go. You control those tutors. Or how about Seedborn Muse? This in the command zone would be disgusting. A 2/4 Spirit for 5 mana. Untap all permanents you control during each of the player's untapped step. My goodness. This is just like, oh, by the way, I get to play on your turns too. I mean, okay, you need Vedalken Ori to do that, or just a bunch of instants. But yeah, being able to just untap every single one of your permanents, including your lands. Yeah, you got just free turns every turn. Gross. So yeah, in the command zone, you can do some pretty crazy things with that. Or how about Consecrated Sphinx? Ooh, okay. That in the command zone just... it scares me. It scares me to think of a 4/6 Sphinx that costs 6 mana with flying. Whenever opponent draws a card, you may draw 2 cards. Yeah, just think about this, like, okay, ramping really quick to get this down, and all of a sudden, with each trip around the table, without your opponents drawing cards in any other way. It's not like them casting a spell to draw a card. Yeah, like just drawing their card at their turn. You're like, I'll draw 2. You too. Okay, 1 trip around the table, you just drew 7 cards, including the one that you drew on your turn, without doing anything else. So yeah, this commander would be pretty absurd. Okay, Avenger of Zendikar. We're almost done because there's so many options. 5/5 elemental for 7 mana. Enters the battlefield, create a 0/1 plant for each land you control. Players love this card. And then also whenever land is battlefield you control, you get a counter each plant you control. This in the command zone means like, hey, this giant threat that can make a board of threats essentially. I can keep getting it back again and again and again. Or how about Hullbreaker Horror? A 7/8 with flash. Can't be countered. Everyone loves to see that on commanders, right? Whenever you cast a spell, choose up to 1. Bounce target spell you control back to its owner's hand. You return target non-land permanent to its owner's hand. This would just be gross to commander. Again, you can't counter it. And also, when you start trying to deal with it, I'm going to play things and then bounce your spells back to your hand like a temporary counter. And then also, yeah, I can just like go infinite very easily with like a Soul Ring. Yeah, quite fun. So there you go. Nixplumation. Okay, this one might be the one that I would least want to see out of everything. A 5/5 elemental will trample out of like these most recent ones. There's more absurd ones. Regardless, 5/5 trample elemental for 7 mana. If you tap a permanent for mana, it produces 3 times as much of that mana instead. My goodness. I mean, we very well might see one of these in the future because like Wizards just made Overtalk, which makes like 3 times as many creature tokens, right? So, I mean, they're doing tripling effects in the command zone now. I really hope they never do a tripling mana. Yeah, but here you go. If you want to use this as your background with this, and your friends are okay with it, go for it. Absurd amounts of mana. Gross. But now as this episode is coming to a close, it's time for me to hear from you. So in the comments below, let me know what your thoughts are on Wizard from Beyond. Yeah, do you think you'll ever see one of these actually in person? Or yeah, are you planning on asking your play group and proxying it? And if so, please let me know in the comments below which commander, which non-legendary commander are you going to be using as a commander? There you go, however you say that. So yeah, let me know in the comments below. If you're interested in any of these, make sure you check out that card list, link in the description below. And of course, as always, thanks again and have a good one. This show and episodes like this one are possible thanks to viewers like you. If you're looking for an easy way to help support this show, make sure that you like, share, and subscribe. Also, hit that bell notification icon so you don't miss any new episodes. You can also go check out our playmats and other merchandise at thecommandersquarters.com. We also have a ton of brand new t-shirt designs in stock, so make sure you check out those as well. Another easy way to support this show is with our TCG player affiliate links. So whether you're buying a deck or individual cards, you can use this general link right here or one in the description. And the final way that you can support this show is by supporting us directly by becoming a patron. There are many benefits to being a patron, and I truly couldn't do this without all of their support.